It's week 22 on the Appalachian Trail, and we are about to leave the inn at Long Trail and head up to the AT, taking along my friends Rinn and Marc. We didn't get to stay here very long, but I loved our little stay at the inn at the Long Trail. It was very cool to see how decorated it was in Long Trail memorabilia and Appalachian Trail memorabilia, and it was in the perfect spots for either LT thru-hikers or AT thru-hikers. And it was a super cozy spot. The night before, we had sat in this cozy lounge area and played games with my friends. But then it was time to get back on the trail. Although the miles were beautiful, they were also very rainy for the next few days as we walked away from Killington.
Thundering Brooks Falls.
I had hoped that the weather would behave for my friend's visit to trail, but you know the trail, it always does what it wants and it never really takes your plans into account. It was so much fun to have Marc and Rinn on the trail with me. Both of these sweet, wonderful friends had known that I had been dreaming about the trail for years and years and years and had listened to me talk countless times about gear, about the trail, and all of my dreams along with it. And because of that, it was extra special to share this mileage with them. Despite my love for my friends and their experience with backpacking, it did prove to be a little bit of a challenge. Because after Barbie and I had been hiking for at least 5 months at this point, we had gotten used to the everyday movement of continuous miles. And even though we cut down our mileage significantly so that we could go slower so that my friends would not feel pressured or hopefully not be in pain, it still was a lot for them to have to carry their packs and walk 8 to 10 miles a day. But we all made the best of it, and they were troopers, and it was still so amazing to share some of these beautiful trail moments with them, like this beautiful shelter. This shelter isn't actually an AT shelter, it's called The Lookout, and it is privately owned, and they created this really cool lookout, and hikers can stay there. We did not, but it was very cool. And then we had to say goodbye to Marc a little earlier than planned.
Bye, friend.
On day 3, about 30 miles into our 50-mile adventure with them, his knee had really started to bug him, and he just felt like it was going to be the best plan of action for him to get a ride, to go back to the inn at Long Trail, and then just meet us along the rest of our little mini trek with Rinn. I was so sad to see Marc go and felt super bad that his trip had ended in pain, but I was still grateful to be hiking with Rinn and grateful to know that we'd still meet up with Marc at some road crossings.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
I'm just not sure how you walk through a beautiful field like this and don't sing chords from the sound of music. When it wasn't 90 degrees and humid, I really loved walking through fields like this. They were just so magical and had such Sound of Music vibes with their flowiness and all the blooms through them. I was also excited about walking through this field because at the road crossing up ahead, we were meeting up with Marc, and there was a cute little farm stand and an adorable coffee shop that I had been thinking about for a while that I was super excited to go enjoy with my friends. Abracadabra Coffee seemed to be in somewhat of an odd spot to me, but I was so happy it was here, and it was super adorable. On the inside, they had this adorable little camper van set up, and this was where I enjoyed a maple creamy with a horchata syrup, and I just remember it being so delicious and amazing. Y'all, I'm still wondering why I never knew that maple creamies existed, and I'm still not sure what I will do without enjoying them. After we got our treats at Abracadabra, we sat down and enjoyed them and caught up with Marc on what he'd been doing since he left the trail. Even though he'd been sad to leave the trail, Marc was still having a blast wandering around Vermont. He had even gone shopping for an engagement ring. Don't worry, I can share that because he's already proposed to his partner. Because life's too short and we got dessert first, we then had some lunch at the On the Edge little farm stand where I had a sandwich and then enjoyed more dessert because these homemade pies were not going to eat themselves. And then it was time to say goodbye to Marc again until we reached Dartmouth, and we got back on the trail with Rinn for one more day of big miles. So because Rinn's knees were now starting to hurt as well, she planned to finish out the evening with us and then do a few miles in the morning and have Marc pick her up. And then Barbie and I would hike the remaining miles into Hanover where we would meet them. I just love this video so much because it just captures Barbie's silliness and how sometimes in the morning or in the evening or whenever he wanted, he would just break out into dance. And then Rinn was hiking her final miles on the Vermont section of the Appalachian Trail for now, and she was off with Marc to go to Hanover and to shower, and Barbie and I were finishing our walk into town. Until my friends had come to hike with us, I hadn't realized how fast Barbie and I had gotten, and that sounds braggy, and I don't mean it to sound that way. It was just that after hiking for 5 months, our legs were so strong and so accustomed to being out there every day that walking with our packs on didn't faze us anymore. And that realization had not hit me until we hiked with my friends.
Sometimes the way the sun hits the trail, it seems almost tropical out here.
And comparatively, Barbie and I weren't fast as other thru-hikers. Well, Barbie was, but he slowed down to hike with me.
Whew, Vermont, you have been so pretty.
Anyways, all this to say that it was so good to hike with my friends, but next time I might just do a 0 day with them. Or just make sure we're doing very reasonable miles.
Town of Norwich. I'm pretty sure this is the last town of Vermont. Whoop, whoop. Well, they're doing road construction, and I can't get a picture with the line. This is bullshit.
Despite my disappointment of not being able to get a picture at the state line, we enjoyed getting into Hanover. They had this adorable little game store that I was looking to see if there was a travel game or something fun for Rinn. She loves games. We even played a game on the trail. And then I had to go get a treat, and we went to Lou's for their iconic mile-high apple pie, and it did not disappoint. And then it was time to meet up with Rinn and Marc again for a delicious meal because after this, Marc was heading back home, and Rinn was staying for one more night. After we did hugs and goodbyes to Marc, Rinn and I went to go get boba tea. This is a fun thing that we do when we're at home together, and it was just as special to cheers a boba tea with her while on the trail. After this delicious boba, we were not done grabbing treats. Rinn had seen this spot called Red Kite Candy, and we went and I grabbed a fluffernutter, and once I'd finally tried it, I regretted not grabbing more because it was absolutely amazing.
We made it! We came back after it got dark so I could get a picture with the sign. Worth it. Worth it. The construction workers are no longer here. The bridge is sound. They're just fixing the road. And I got my picture. I am now a happy camper. No one please arrest me for this.
Because Rinn had her car with her, it was super easy to go back and get a picture, and I was so grateful because I had not missed a picture with the state line yet. The next morning, we grabbed breakfast with Rinn at Lou's and then coffee with her. Well, I grabbed matcha. She had coffee from the Dirt Cowboy Cafe before we said our goodbyes to her, and she was headed back home. Despite the challenges that the week had had in store for us, I am so grateful to have such amazing friends. And then as one set of friends was leaving, we were embraced with another as the BFs came into town. We spent some quality time with them in the bookstore before deciding that it was time for Barbie and I to see the Barbie movie. Despite what many people had asked us, Barbie was not named Barbie after the Barbie movie. He was named because he would sing the original Come On Barbie, Let's Go Party Aqua song when he was hiking up the trail when I first met him. On our way out of town, we spotted this beautiful mural that painted from Vermont all the way to Killington, and I had to take a video for you all so you could also see this beautiful artwork depicting the trail. It was late afternoon after we had finished screening the Barbie movie, and the sun was going to be going down soon, so we quickly had ran to the grocery when we saw this, and then we were headed out of town to see if we could find a camp spot that we had read about just on the outskirts of the Dartmouth, Hanover area. We unfortunately did not find a spot on the outskirts of town and had to walk a little bit and set up right before dark. The next day, we spent our first full day hiking through New Hampshire, and it was absolutely beautiful. These first miles into New Hampshire made me excited for what was to come and the beauty that was around us. We were officially hiking through our second to last state of the Appalachian Trail. And after months and months of hiking, I honestly couldn't believe that we were this far down the trail and that we were so close, yet still so far from the finish. We still had some of the hardest miles to go, but I was ready to take them on. I was ready to enjoy and thrive during this last few weeks of the Appalachian Trail.